Congratulations, you just bought a TV. You bought a TV and a manual came with it. Well, at first, you just threw it away. But then, when you opened the box, saw the multiple scattered parts, or when you switched the TV on and it still didn't work, you ultimately had to go back to that manual. Argumentation works the same way. It doesn't come in a box, but it comes with people and relationships. It doesn't come with scattered parts, it comes with scattered thoughts. And if you pick up those thoughts, put them in order and paste them on a board, there you have a crystal clear 4K display of you, of who you are. And the manufacturer of these arguments, well, he forgot to give us a manual. So here I am. Welcome. Welcome everyone to the Manual of Argumentation. I am Nikhil Kachhwaha, an 11th grader at this very school. And I stand at this stage today grateful to all of my mentors and teachers who have made me capable of sharing this stage with such great personalities. All right, first let's clear up some thoughts. Thing is, when I say argumentation, you imagine debates. You imagine politicians fighting over the new bill that has just passed. क्योंकि आज तक पे तो वही आता है. But that's really not the case. You imagine UN representatives giving speech on big podiums, but what about today? But what about today when you woke up, when your mother woke you up, and you said, Ma, just 5 minutes more? Or what happened when you came in this auditorium and you discussed with your friends that which row should we sit in? Wasn't that arguing? Well, it was. And when you get better at it, what do you get? Well, in simple words, everything. Every job, every friendship, every revolution, it was first won in words, it was first won in arguments. Well, now that you understand how important arguments really are, let's understand how to do them better. Let's open up that manual. Firstly, we have identity. Identity. All right, to make you guys understand this a little better, picture this. You're in a car, it's moving along a road, and then suddenly you see two people fighting, having an argument over an accident. One thing that you will notice is that they are always shouting. But have you ever thought, why are they shouting? No, because why are they shouting? Is shouting going to fix their cars back? No, right? But they do that anyways. Well, that is because in arguments, our core beliefs, the values that we live by are questioned. In that argument, in that moment, it's not just the argument that's on fire. No. It's us. When our identity steps into that ring, our emotion amplifies 100 folds, and our pride, our sense of self, is suddenly on the line. And in that moment, in that desperate attempt to not lose faith in yourself, you do everything. You do everything. You shout. You shout. You scream. You throw rocks. There is no end to it. Then what is the solution? Well, begin by understanding who you are. What is your perspective? What are your core values? What do you really, really respect in life? Because once you understand that, you win the battle. The battle not with that other guy, but you win that battle with a person far, far more important. You win that battle with yourself. And once you do that, there is no need to prove your sense of self to someone else. And you can stay calm. even when the other person is hurling rocks at your pride, you still stay calm. Turning over a page in the manual, we have acknowledgement. All right, you and your friends are discussing about which movie to go and see tonight, and suddenly your friend stops and says, hey, you know what? We should definitely go and see your movie because that makes so much more sense. Let's go and see it, dude. But that would only happen in a perfect world, because in arguments, appreciation is this miraculous gift. A gift that everybody wants, but a gift that is so costly that no one wants to give it. And that's the problem. Well, the answer? Instead of taking your thoughts, your points, and shoving them down their neck at the very start of that argument, calm down, people. Take a step back. Think about what you're saying. Think about where their arguments, their emotions originate from. And when you understand that, you are wealthy. You are the most wealthy man in the world. Do you know why? Because now you can afford to pay the price of that gift. You can appreciate them. You understand them, and then you say, I get where you're coming from. I get why you're having these emotions, and I appreciate your thoughts. But trust me, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most difficult thing you've ever done in your entire life. Because for some people, accepting that the other person requires appreciation is like accepting defeat itself. And it's really not that case, because you need to realize the power you hold to acknowledge the other person. Well, that power helps you mold that argument in your favor, not in the short run, but in the bigger picture. They are tied to your appreciation. They value your thoughts more because you listen to them. Your perspective means so much more to them. That, ladies and gentlemen, is power. That is your victory. Well, now you understand what the manual is. You understand what the product is. But do you understand when to use that product? The clever may win many fights, but the wise choose battles that are worth the scars. By that, I mean, in arguments, you need to pick your fights carefully. And this is the warning section of that manual. This is where I tell you that do not use this product everywhere. Keep it away from children and keep it away from adults who are closed-minded. Who are uninformed but uninterested, who are trolls. And especially, keep it away from your own impulse. Like Ronaldo doesn't play in every football match that he sees, you shouldn't argue in every argument that you see. That's because debaters really understand how to argue. They can argue without even proper reasoning, without proper logic to their thoughts, their claims. They have a little trick up their sleeve. And that trick is called over-exaggeration. To give you an example, in an argument of, is this a pen? My opposition could say something like, I don't know, it's light. And then I could say something like, oh, so you mean it defies gravity? No, it writes in ink. Oh, so didn't it? Now think of it. In an argument of, is this a pen? You got frustrated. You got annoyed. You got worked up a little. Now consider how important this argument was. Was it really important? Answer that to yourself. And now, think of the arguments that you have on a daily. Think of it. Was it really worth it, sleeping those extra 5 minutes? Was it really worth it where you're sitting right now? All of it boils down to this: the fights you pick. The fights that are worth fighting. And don't get me wrong, it's not like all of the fights are worthless. It's really, as Christopher Hitchens says, never be a spectator to unfairness and stupidity. Argue to that. Dispute to that, as the grave will have plenty of supply for silence. Let's turn to the last page of the manual. Congratulations, everybody. Your 4K picture of yourself is really starting to show. But then the last part is the most difficult process. Well, according to me, it's the most important process. To make you really understand this, let me take you through a scenario. Think of a chess game. You're sitting there pretending you know chess, but yeah, we know that you don't. I'm sorry, but just bear with me for a moment here. Think of it. When you make a move, you pause. You pause and you think of what the other person is going to respond to it. What are they going to do? Are they going to move this piece to a little left, to right? What are they going to actually do? That pause isn't weakness. That pause is respect to the other player's mind. Same as an argument. In arguments, the pause before you argue, that is when you really consider what the other person is saying, what they are trying to convey. And in that pause, somewhere deep down you realize, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm actually wrong and they are right? That little pause is where humility is born. And as you all know it, humility is what makes us human. Congratulations, everyone. You finally had a crystal clear 4K picture of yourself. But before you throw this manual away, let me leave you with this. Argumentation is a passport. Argumentation is a passport. It can take you everywhere. It can open doors to ideas, to creativity, to inspiration, to people's hearts. But like every passport, you don't use it on every street corner. You use it on journeys that are worth it. So ladies and gentlemen, pick your destinations clearly, think them through, because there's no return ticket from it. These arguments are what will really carry you beyond those boundaries. Thank you so much.